I think there's two ways to summarize our season. I think the first is cumulatively, anybody who was at Marquette after our final game and saw our locker room and saw how gutted the guys were, and going back to the Seton Hall game, Game 17, the Butler game, Game 18, and then the Marquette playoff game, for us to come from behind 3 games in a row, for us to get 2 wins and then an overtime draw, to go to penalty kicks and have 9 shooters, and to go out in the fashion that we did. If you consider what had happened the 3 or 4 weeks prior to that, I think that combined with the respect, love, and true appreciation for what everybody in the program had for one another in the locker room that night at Marquette, I think in a funny way I've learned it was a good season, and we did the best we could with some of the circumstances we had. And it really dawned on me that we have a program. We didn't just have a 2018 team, we have a program. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the assistant coaches. I want to thank the support staff. As people do and do not know, there's people who handle our academics, our sports information, our strength and conditioning, there's sports medicine, there's administrative help, so on and so forth. And I thought we had the best group of people we've ever had. And I think our parents in particular stayed the course and reinforced some of the messages we had when we went through a 5-game losing streak we hadn't gone through before. We were under 500, which we hadn't been no more than once or twice in my 9 years. So overall, the season was disappointing, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of emphasis on well done versus how done. And if you consider how we stuck together and how we responded to some adversity, I think we did a great job with that. I think there's certainly a program in place, and I think most importantly, the 3 things I talk about during recruiting visits are developing, hires and spouses. We did that. I think providing a great and learning experience. We certainly did that, and creating a family culture, and I think that was certainly on display that night at Marquette. The other side of the season, is the statistical part of the soccer part. I'll look at this. We had 9 out of 11 starters miss time with injuries in the middle of the year. We played 6 or 7 straight midweek and then weekend games. I made a scheduling error that was discovered around Memorial Day that we had to live with, and that moved to Friday, Sunday in week 2 to 2 midweek games during the Big East play. And during those midweek games, the team we played on Saturday had the whole week off, and we had to go on the road with 2 overnight trips and get home, I think, at 2 o'clock in the morning from both of them, and then play a fresh Big East team on Saturday. As we're doing that, we're down in one game 7 starters, and most other games 3 to 5 starters, and we were thin, and we were tired, and we weren't rested. We found out the other day, we did an analysis of our, kind of our periodization, and the last real practice or training session we had was on September 16th. So it's hard to be well coached when you can't practice. It's hard to fill guys in when guys are out if you can't practice. It's hard to win with the tougher schedule you've ever had when you don't have players. And having said all that, I think the team did a very good job of staying together and learned some valuable lessons about being professional and showing up, persevering. And I thought our mood consistency was tremendous. And there were several times at training during that stretch and in a restaurant or a hotel or on a bus ride, I challenged the guys and I said, I want people who see you for the first time to guess what your record is, and I want it to be, a lot different than what it might be right now. And we certainly accomplished that. And I was happy for the guys at the end to really come from behind and win the Seton Hall game on the road, and then come from behind and take care of Butler, and then score in the final 10 minutes to equalize at Marquette and get that game to penalty kicks. So 3 games in a row come from behind. I think in 2 out of the 3 we scored from the 80th minute on. And, the way I look at it is this: is the NCAA tournament pool was announced yesterday, and Indiana was the 2 seed overall. We beat them in preseason. Kentucky was the 3 seed. We, I think, outplayed them and probably had the better of them, and I think their coach will tell you that, and tied with them. Oregon State is a at-large bid, home game. We tied them on the road. Tied Michigan State on the road. They're a home team, and then Georgetown was a seeded team, and we beat them. So this is before all the adversity hit. This is before the injuries hit. And I think we expected to be a top 10 team and probably a second or third round NCAA tournament team. And we were on the way to doing that. And in the end, we made the the Big East playoffs for the sixth straight year. There's only 3 programs who've done that. We've come in the top 5 or the top half 6 straight years in a row. There's only one other program who's done that. We were ranked 15th nationally, and I think our season, the record didn't really reflect as far as who we had and how we did things and what we stood for. And along the way, got our 8th straight national team academic award. So those are the things I'm going to hang my hat on. But I'm proud of our seniors. They're friends of mine for life, and they certainly, I told them to walk proud and to come back at any time. And I will remember this team for many good reasons, and it's kind of been unique, but I will remember them. This is one of, I think, my better coaching jobs and one of the favorite teams I've ever coached, in spite of what the bottom line might say to some people on the outside.